The gripping mechanisms of primates offer one of the most compelling windows into evolutionary biology, revealing how morphology and behavior co-evolve in response to ecological pressures. From the earliest tree-dwelling ancestors of modern primates to the upright, ground-walking humans of today, changes in grip and prehensility mirror the broader evolutionary journey from arboreality to bipedality. The hands and feet of primates did not merely evolve for locomotion. They became sophisticated tools of survival, enabling manipulation, foraging, social interaction, and technological development. This documentary explores the evolutionary development of primate gripping mechanisms, tracing the morphological, neurological, and functional transformations that enabled primates to traverse trees, grasp objects, and ultimately walk upright. Through fossil records, comparative anatomy, experimental biomechanics, and field studies, we uncover the intricate story of how primates evolved from adept climbers into tool-wielding bipeds. The earliest primates evolved during the Paleocene Epoch, around 65 million years ago, in dense tropical forests where trees formed a three-dimensional environment that demanded specialized locomotor and manipulative adaptations. Arboreal life in this context favored organisms capable of navigating the canopy with precision and safety. One of the most critical evolutionary innovations was the development of grasping extremities, hands and feet with opposable digits, nails instead of claws, and increased tactile sensitivity. The early primate Purgatorius, often cited as one of the basal members of the primate lineage, lived approximately 66 million years ago and is thought to have possessed some adaptations for arboreality, although the fossil record for this genus is limited to teeth and jaw fragments. However, it is during the Eocene, roughly 56 to 33.9 million years ago, that the grasping adaptations become unambiguously evident in primate fossils. The genus Notharctus, a lemur-like primate from this period, presents an early example of a powerfully grasping hand. Its fingers were long and curved, ideal for clinging to and maneuvering through branches, and the thumb, while not fully opposable, shows increased mobility compared to non-primate mammals. These grasping adaptations were not confined to the forelimbs. The feet of Eocene primates, such as Adapis, also evolved strong grasping capacities. The big toe, or hallux, was widely abducted and opposable, allowing for effective pedal grasping, crucial for stabilizing the animal during climbing and suspension. The nails, as opposed to claws, allowed for a broader surface area and enhanced tactile feedback, which was critical for adjusting grip pressure dynamically in real time. One of the most significant milestones in the evolution of primate grip was the enhancement of the thumb's opposability and control. This permitted not only a stronger power grip, but also a more refined precision grip. This development is particularly evident in the anthropoids, monkeys, apes, and humans, who began to show a divergence in hand function tailored toward manipulation as well as locomotion. The fossil record from the Miocene Epoch, about 23 to 5 million years ago, is particularly rich in evidence of this transition. Miocene apes such as Proconsul and Dryopithecus demonstrate the early evolution of a robust thumb capable of partial opposition. Proconsul, a genus found in East Africa and dated to approximately 20 million years ago, had relatively flexible wrists and forelimbs. This suggests that while it still spent time in trees, it was evolving toward enhanced manipulative ability. Though lacking the full opposable thumb of modern humans, its hands show less curvature in the phalanges than those of more suspensory apes, indicating a transition toward precision manipulation. Studies comparing the metacarpal morphology of Miocene apes with modern primates have identified traits predictive of advanced opposability. For example, the human-like proportions of the first metacarpal bone in Homo habilis, a species dating back to 2.4 to 1.4 million years ago, illustrate that by this time, an efficient precision grip was well established. This allowed hominins to grasp and manipulate tools with a level of dexterity absent in other primates. In modern humans, the thumb is uniquely long and robust, with a saddle-shaped carpometacarpal joint that permits a wide range of motion, including opposition, flexion, extension, and rotation. This anatomical advancement was instrumental in the development of culture and technology. The fine motor control enabled by the opposable thumb underpins tool production in early hominins, such as the Oldowan stone tools associated with Homo habilis. Experimental archaeology has demonstrated that the creation of such tools requires precise and repeated application of force, which in turn requires a stable and controlled grip, an anatomical trait only made possible by the evolution of an advanced thumb. In certain lineages of primates, particularly the great apes, evolution emphasized suspensory locomotion, a form of arboreal movement where the primate hangs below branches using its arms. This behavioral shift led to further specialization in gripping mechanisms, particularly in the forelimbs. The orangutan, for example, demonstrates an extreme case of arboreal specialization. Its hands feature highly curved phalanges and reduced thumbs, adaptations that facilitate hook-like grasping of branches during brachiation and clambering. Biomechanical studies have shown that orangutan locomotion involves substantial reliance on frictional grip rather than precision. Electromyographic data from captive orangutans indicate that their flexor muscles, particularly the flexor digitorum profundus, are heavily involved in generating the force necessary to maintain grip during slow, deliberate movement through the canopy. The hand morphology reflects this with a reduced thumb, which would otherwise obstruct a hook-like grip, and long fingers that wrap securely around supports. Chimpanzees and bonobos, while also exhibiting adaptations for arboreal locomotion, occupy a more transitional space. Their hands retain considerable flexibility and opposability, allowing for both effective climbing and fine manipulation. The knuckle-walking locomotion observed in chimpanzees represents a compromise between arboreal and terrestrial adaptations. It preserves a strong grip in the fingers while allowing terrestrial movement that minimizes damage to the phalanges. Knuckle-walking is supported by adaptations such as reinforced finger joints and specialized calluses, reflecting an evolutionary balance between grasping efficiency and terrestrial locomotor demands. Perhaps the most profound shift in primate evolution occurred with the emergence of habitual bipedality in hominins. This transition, which began over 6 million years ago, dramatically altered the anatomical function of the hands and feet. While the upper limbs were liberated from locomotor duties and became specialized for manipulation, the lower limbs, particularly the feet, underwent a radical transformation that diminished their grasping capabilities in favor of stability and propulsion. The fossil remains of Ardipithecus Ramidus, dated to 4.4 million years ago, offer critical insight into this transitional phase. This early hominin possessed a grasping big toe similar to that of modern apes, suggesting it retained climbing ability. However, its pelvis and limb proportions indicate that it was also capable of upright walking. This duality reflects a phase where arboreal grasping was still relevant, even as terrestrial bipedality was being established. Subsequent hominins, such as Australopithecus Afarensis, exemplified by the famous specimen Lucy, show a further commitment to bipedality. Dated to around 3.2 million years ago, Lucy's foot anatomy reveals a largely adducted hallux and an arch structure suited to upright walking. Although some features of the foot retain minor arboreal capabilities, the grasping function of the hallux was significantly diminished. The hands of Australopithecus were still adapted for manipulation and possibly limited climbing, with relatively long fingers and a partially opposable thumb, though less specialized than in modern humans. The transformation of the foot from a grasping to a propulsive organ is a hallmark of bipedal evolution. Fossil footprints preserved at Laetoli in Tanzania, attributed to Australopithecus Afarensis and dated to 3.6 million years ago, clearly show an arched foot and a non-divergent big toe. These traits indicate that by this point, the foot had lost most of its prehensile capacity and had been restructured for efficient bipedal locomotion. With the full adoption of bipedality in the genus Homo, the divergence between hand and foot functions became complete. The human hand is now optimized for precision and versatility, whereas the foot is a rigid, weight-bearing structure that enables long-distance walking and running. The loss of pedal grasping is offset by a complex interplay of bones, muscles, and ligaments that stabilize the foot during gait. The human hand features several adaptations that enhance gripping ability. The thumb in particular is highly muscular and capable of fine movement, supported by intrinsic hand muscles such as the opponent's pollicis. The fingertips are broad and flat, enhancing tactile discrimination. These traits support not only tool use but also complex activities like writing, playing instruments, and performing surgery. Comparative studies with modern non-human primates highlight the uniqueness of the human hand. For instance, in a study published in Nature, researchers found that the ratio of thumb to finger length in humans supports a broader range of precision grips than that in chimpanzees or gorillas. Moreover, the cortical representation of the fingers in the human brain is disproportionately large, underscoring the neural investment in manual dexterity. In contrast, the human foot has evolved longitudinal and transverse arches that provide spring and support. The big toe is aligned with the other toes and is critical in the push-off phase of walking. The plantar fascia and intrinsic foot muscles stabilize the arch and store elastic energy, increasing locomotor efficiency. The evolution of gripping mechanisms is not merely anatomical, it is deeply intertwined with the neurobiology of sensation and control. Primates have a highly developed somatosensory cortex that allows for detailed feedback from the skin, muscles, and joints during grasping tasks. In humans, this system is especially elaborate. The motor cortex devotes substantial cortical real estate to the hand and fingers, allowing for finely tuned voluntary control. Studies using functional MRI have shown that even imagined gripping actions activate similar neural networks as actual movements. This neural flexibility underlies the development of tool use and cultural behaviors that require planned, goal-directed manual activity. Mirror neurons in the premotor cortex, first discovered in macaques, may also play a role in the evolution of tool use by allowing individuals to learn through observation and imitation. One of the most illuminating case studies involves the evolution of tool use in Capuchin monkeys. Despite lacking an opposable thumb as developed as that of humans, capuchins display remarkable ingenuity in manipulating stones to crack nuts. Studies in Brazil have documented the use of anvils and hammerstones, with juvenile monkeys learning through social observation. This behavior underscores the interplay between environmental challenge, social learning, and manual capability. Another compelling example is the adaptation seen in the eye, a lemur with an extraordinarily elongated third digit used for percussive foraging. This unique adaptation demonstrates how gripping structures can be repurposed for highly specialized ecological functions, diverging from the generalized arboreal grip typical of early primates. The evolution of primate gripping mechanisms is a story of adaptive complexity shaped by ecological necessity and behavioral innovation. From the arboreal agility of Eocene primates to the tool-wielding sophistication of modern humans, the hand and foot have undergone radical transformations. While the grasping foot was sacrificed in favor of upright locomotion, the hand has become a symbol of primate intelligence and versatility. Understanding this evolutionary journey requires an integrated approach that considers fossil evidence, comparative anatomy, biomechanics, and neuroscience. As research continues to uncover new fossils and develop more refined analytical tools, our appreciation of this remarkable evolutionary narrative will only deepen. The gripping hand, so central to the primate identity, stands not just as a physical trait, but as a testament to the profound interplay between biology, environment, and culture.